most cases you use recommends, because this is basically mirroring the system we have right now. And the reverse are actually for if you do not want the main package to have to know about it. So if you have something which is separate from the main package and doesn't actually belong there.
Not even in the same source.
Yeah, which is not in the same source, which is not related.
This for things in third-party repositories, especially you don't want to write in a Fedora package recommends MP3 encoder, because then Resetziger will come after you, so you should write in the MP3 encoder supplements this and this package.
So that's the cases where I see the...
An MP3 encoder does not know about every player or you can install.
Yeah, but the basic codecs for decoding and encoding with GStreamer, they know about GStreamer, and they should supplement or enhance GStreamer.
Yeah, so that's a classical example of where you use a reverse. But I think for most stuff within Fedora, the forward is the right thing to do for most cases.
Actually, I'd say that the systemd and UDEF rules were quite an example. The only thing is that the UDEF rules are currently sub-package, but it's a database. If they were independent package, then you won't have in this database supplement, because you want in some systems, you don't want system to know about this database. So then it belongs to this database package.
So one example could be if you have if you in theory had separate SELinux policies, you could actually have them supplement to SELinux, so they get only installed if you have SELinux support on your system, or stuff like this.
And the other example would be recommends MTA.
Yeah.
Because the MTA cannot specify supplements every kind of package.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, those kinds of examples would be perfect to put in the policy.
Yeah.
Or
I think this is the workshop for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is anyone writing it down right now?
hopefully.
I have hopes.
Or is it recorded?
I don't know. My guess is it is not recorded because I don't even have a microphone or something. It may be recorded without sound, which will be extremely helpful.
It should be recorded.
Okay.
Without microphone, without
To the camera, not
Is to basically just do like half a dozen packages and show that it's just working. And then basically write a policy and say, well, you see it's working, it's not breaking anything, we want to use it, maybe, and then write a policy.
If I may, you mentioned the FPC ticket at the beginning, and there actually is some text for the policy written there.
Yeah, I'm not sure how.
If there are any volunteers to build on it and
Yeah,
enhance it.
yeah, I've seen it. The thing is, it has currently still some other idea about the hints than I have, which is fine if you all are sure that the other idea is better.
So can we open a wiki page for it? So
Yeah, we should probably should do that.
Scramble the ideas into.
Actually, I tried like writing guidelines if we don't know the works, and this should be DNF guides.
We can iterate over it.
Yeah. I think there's no way around just changing a bunch of packages and show that it's working.
That's why it's a wiki page, right?
Yeah.
I believe that DNF guys should write this, because they are the one who write.
Yeah, we can definitely.
It just works now. It is already implemented.
So.
One more thing about Anaconda, because how these weak dependencies work affects, or how they are processed by our tools affects what packages get installed by default. And it's actually independent of comps, right? So,
Yes.
it's important to know because it affects
Yeah, but the thing is, as they're working in Fedora 2, in Anaconda 2, I hope, if they are using DNF, which they do. So if you just change the requires to recommends, the same packages should still be chosen, because the recommends are treated as requirements, unless. So the difference in package is, if you, I don't know, can you deselect? You can deselect packages in Anaconda. Can you force it?
That's not working with DNF right now.
Okay, so
Back in the days, Anaconda used force to install transaction.
we don't know.
Because it had a transaction.
No.
So that's why you could select something.
I know. I don't want to think about it.
This is why the FPC asked about Anaconda.
Yeah, and the thing is, my guess is it should work just fine with Anaconda. If there is some issue, we will fix that.
Anaconda would just install more packets if they, for example, supplements and suggests.
Shouldn't there be
Yeah.
interface to enable or disable installing those optional packages?
Yeah.
Or for suggests.
Yeah, the thing is, if as soon as DNF adds the config option, Anaconda would just add another option to basically.
But do the Anaconda developers know about this?
Not yet.
They are using DNF API from Python, so you also have to
They
do
will.
that for the API.
That's probably
How do you specify this in Kickstart?
not yet.
Not yet. So you see,
But the thing is, the thing is, the default is basically the same as right now. So there's not.
Except for supplements.
Yeah, but the supplements will just be ignored as like now.
Really?
No, but the thing is, you don't strictly need a configuration option to be working. You just change the distribution; it's continuous working.
Yes.
And if you have the configuration option, you have more possibilities. You have more possibilities, but it's not like.
Nothing goes away.
I mean, you could already just add more requirements into the packages, and yes, you would get more packages. So what?
Nothing goes away.
That it's not like it breaks. It's just, I mean, yes, you as a packager still have to think what packages do we want and need and put in there. And yes, if you
If a supplements package conflicts with the existing transaction set, it will not be taken in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
My point is that people don't like to be surprised that, for example, in Fedora 21 they installed or the default package that's what it is, and in 23, let's say, they select the same options in Anaconda, and they get much more packages.
no, that won't happen. It won't happen.
For example, well, one example, not exactly about weak dependencies, but about such surprise that hit me actually, is when I upgraded from F20 to F21. There was a change in defaults in YAM that meant that if I run any YAM install, it would try to install all packages that should be installed by default within the groups that I had enabled.
As objects,
Yeah, that was a big surprise
one
for
of
me.
the first things I disabled after upgrading.
That was a YAM bug that was fixed after Fedora 20.
Okay.
So the view detection.
So yes, if things goes wrong, people are surprised. That's I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry. Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, if something goes wrong, things go wrong. But if things go right, I don't see much problems there, because if you change some of the requires to recommends, you will still end up with the same package sets. And yes, of course, if you make huge use of the weak dependencies, you can think about changing the layout of the distribution, because you can afford to use recommends more widely than you use requires. And yes, it's something we have to talk about. How is this distribution actually supposed to look like? And things like this. But that's an ongoing process. It's not like...
At least we have the possibility to switch strip it down.
Yeah, actually, the thing is, you can actually now strip it down below the number of packages we had before. And I can imagine there's a couple of people who will want that.
Yes. So, like Josh Boyer mentioned that some people want to get rid of Linux firmware, the kernel firmware package, because they don't need it.
Yeah. So you then at least can remove it. There's the removing stuff is something we probably need to talk about too with the DNF guys, because I think right now there's not a really good way of removing packages in a way that don't come back ever.
Yes, that's what was my next question on
And
updates. What do you do?
yeah, the thing is actually what you need is basically remove and extrude the package, and we don't have something nice.
Don't ever show this package again.
Yeah, something.
Blacklist somehow automatic. Maybe just a command, just a flag to remove that automatically adds it to the exclude list in the configuration, which already exists.
But then again, some other packages can, or the package gets updated and a new recommend shows up, and I don't want to have this either.
Yeah, but you have to then remove it by hand.
Or just have the global config, global command line option minimal.
Yeah, that's something we will add. So the DNF option will be both on the command line and in the config.
Yeah, and
That's
after that I could issue DNF ignore recommends update.
yeah.
I mean, I was playing with it. I tried it, and it was when I was doing system D and system D UFD hyper database split, and I used the recommends. Now I remember, and then I removed hyper database because it was possible.
Yep.
And then I got the release in the main package, and I updated the main package. It didn't pull back the recommended.
It didn't?
I was surprised.
Okay.
Because I thought it would. Because the DNF guys told me that they don't do anything special. They are just relying on Libsoft, and it didn't pull.
Okay. Maybe Libsoft got better.
So then maybe again in the other case where I removed something and the recommends appears newly, they didn't want to have that. So
Yeah.
let's maybe want to have the reverse.
Yeah, but the thing is, if a new recommend comes which you didn't uninstall previously, there's no way for whatever system you have to make the decision for you.
Yes.
You basically have to make the decision on your own, and you now at least can make the decision on your own.
So
Is this configurable in Libsoft?
Yeah, and we will add the configuration option. No, for the update stuff or for
How it recommends.
on updates. Okay. Yeah, but we probably want to stay at this behavior, I guess.
So there will be also the same thing for the hint, right?
Yeah, we will probably allow also turning hints into recommends or into requires. No, into recommends basically. So they get installed by default. Okay, so time is flying. I still have some slides. So what we're up to. So what we're up to, Boolean dependencies. That's basically no new tags. In opposite to the weak dependencies, it's basically a new syntax we have within the requirement tags and the new weak dependency tags. First parts are already implemented. It's not in Fedora, it's all just in the upstream repositories. The language is not yet 100% final, but I hope we will get that into RPM 4.13, which I had hoped to have an early alpha for the development conference, but as things turned out, we will still need a bit more time for reasons I will not go into. And the main thing is you can have requirements in more than one package, and so you can basically have, as you address one package with a requirement, you basically bind two packages together. You will be able to bind more than two packages together. They're still based on the provide name with optional comparison in the version. So it requires a bit thinking differently, because if you have requirements, you kind of think of operating on the name basically, but the Boolean will basically turn the name and will turn the question, did it match somewhere, into a true-false statement, and then basically calculate for them on. So there are two operators which are actually already implemented in libsolve also, and it's actually already working, which is AND and OR. So this the required space, so you can give more than one package as an option. You can also give more than two. As I already mentioned, right now it's not yet preferring the first option, but I will probably ask Michael to add that or implement it myself. Yes?
I can see the use case for or, how would you use
Um,
useful for the products. A lot of information doesn't go into the comps.
The thing is, you can have more complicated things, like you can require this package or this package and another add-on. So you can nest them. So it's just not limited to one parent pieces, but you can have multiple terms. Yeah. The thing is, you can also use them for conflicts, and for conflicts, the AND is much more useful, because I don't go into the Boolean expression. So and there's basically two options. We're discussing one. These are basically implications for those who are into Boolean algebra. And we're not still clear if we use if other than else, which is a bit more expressive, but I don't know. We can maybe talk about which looks more beautiful in your eyes. Do we have another slide? I've got implemented by Michael Schröder also. And it's basically more proof of concept implementation. It's already in the repository, but there's still some edges that need to be filed off. And to see if everything works, especially, I'm not sure if the weak dependencies are 100% working. I think we need to test it more thoroughly, because the thing is, the question is, when does the expression actually trigger pulling in the package? And we probably want to have some more UI stuff that actually figures out the right things. But I hope that we can get it done in, let's say, the first half of this year, and get it in Fedora.
So priority would only be, like you said, the first one.
Yeah. There are a couple of open questions, like what do you do with huge expressions, and how do you actually count, or do you... The thing is, in libsolve, all the expressions are basically transferred into one of the normal forms. I forgot which one. So they're basically all turned into AND expressions, now into OR expressions which are then ended together. And so, yeah, so it gets, and we have to look at the details, what we actually can do for more complicated things.
And you can't express everything through a simple Boolean expression. There's lots of logic around for reframe the one thing over the other.
In libsolve, there's all kind of other magic too. At least the thing is, the way libsolve works is basically it turns everything in a huge Boolean expression or set of. Now it's actually one expression, and it tries to find a solution with every term in the expression being one package being installed or not. So if one term is true, the package gets installed. If it's false, it's not installed. And the trick is, you don't want any of the solution. You want the right kind of solution. So there's all kind of heuristics to make sure the solutions we end up with is
Because if you try
the one that we
all
expect.
solutions,
Yeah, because the thing is, you can always add another package and it's still legal. And we don't want that, of course. So we want to, but I won't bore you with the details. There's a couple of use cases. Most of them we talked about. There's choose one of the packages. There's choose one of the package or a combination of other packages. This is something I just talked about. The main thing I actually wanted this to be implemented is bridging packages. These are packages which sit in between two, which are basically whenever you have some kind of plugin or language package, which basically, so I like the language package actually most because you just could implement all language support as a single meta package or package actually with the language files for libc or something, and do everything down on the level of simple dependencies. There's actually a more complicated use case I didn't find while making the slides. It's really ugly that there's a multilib, there's a bug open that I didn't find, which is basically multilib over glibc and authentication. And if you have installed a library, I think PAM or something, in 32-bit, you need also have maybe the Kerberos or whatever in 32 bits, but you cannot make a requirement because you may not need it actually. But if you have, so it's really ugly, and that's something that cannot be done at all right now, and we hope we can get this fixed with this.
But for languages, didn't we have tags for the documentation with different language tags anyway? But it's on a file base, and it's basically you can. Yeah, but how can you implement something that I only want 2 languages on my system? I mean that.
Yeah, you can. The thing is, there are 2 ways to implement this. The one is within an RPM base, and that's what we do have in RPM already. But this had a lot of drawbacks. For example, if you add support for a language, you don't get support for everything that's installed because they don't care. That's only evaluated through install, during install time.
You could reinstall.
Yeah, you could reinstall, but there's not even some sane way to actually figure out which of the packages do have language files. Yeah, of course you could query the database, but no. Okay. The thing is, if you do it on a per package base, you have a sane way to add them later, to remove them. So if you just add support.
Every package has some translations in it, and you would have to split every package into all the languages.
Yeah. The question how many yeah. Maybe I hear there are people working on delta and metadata, maybe it scales at some point.
I think if the package doesn't get fast, then there is the control which collects the files and takes them with the proper
that's
so I think the fine line of that.
Do you want to make sub-packages on
I think it could only be a package as well.
a gazillion of RPM files?
Yeah, so what? You end up with zillions of language files anyway. Yeah, I don't know. If you the question how far you go with stripping languages into subpackages can be still decided.
So the doc tag will never be supported by RPM or any tools.
Doc tag?
The documentation language tag.
Well, it is RPM. You can deselect, I think, the languages, but don't.
You can actually deselect it, but it breaks down other things like if you want to add a language afterwards, then you have to reinstall all the packages and you reinstall because that's the only way to get them.
You could just pick out that one language and not install the whole thing, but only the files which are tagged as supplemental.
But you have a translation file, translation package installed, which is actually incomplete. And your RPM database, which should give a realistic picture of what you have installed, doesn't give it. Because some user might have this translation package.
I'm not a big fan on doing doing sub-package operations on files. That's ugly as hell.
So
Always has been.
you need to split it up into sub-packages
Yeah.
so that your RPM database gives the correct picture.
I'm rather optimizing for being able to process 10 times the metadata than starting handling single files. The fact that we can handle single files in RPM for some features is a historical mistake. Period. Okay. I think
Okay, so is there a technical reason why there is no not operator implemented, only and then or?
well, the thing is the not operator has some implementation difficulties in libsolve. I'm actually a fan of not operator. I still have to convince Michael. The thing is, the implications are also basically not operators.
Yeah,
So
but
the thing is,
the stuff where we could use not operators, you can also do it with if or it with else.
yeah, the thing is, my guess is that Michael thought the not operator is going to be a problem, and he was right, but doesn't help because the other operators are also a problem. So
This is a problem with Michael. He is right very often.
yeah,
Just if you are not.
But the thing is, as all the other, the thing is, the implication, which is the if, is basically if and yes, is basically an A or not B, which is basically an implication. So you have the not anyway. And actually, the code that is already done in RPM already uses some not flag in the database to indicate that one term is negative. And so I guess in the end we might just end it at some point.
I can build something like requires A and not A.
Yes, of course. The thing
This is how the Boolean expression in the
The thing is, what you have to when you switch from requiring a package to the Boolean thing is, what you have in mind is basically there's an expression, and all the expressions which are requirements need to be true, and all the expressions that are conflicts need to be false. And if they are not, your package cannot be installed, and you will get a conflict as you get right now, which basically means if you require a package A and A is not there, that means A is false and the whole thing is false, which means the one thing that's there is false and your installation fails. And if you have more terms, it basically means more truth values combined to either true, which means install a package, or false and means you're out of luck.
How does the error message look like?
Well,
Can you, is there some logic already in there which shows you why it didn't work out?
I think there's not too much in there. It will.
I'm not even sure it's possible to really tell. I mean, it will know that the Boolean expression is not satisfiable, but why it is not satisfiable is a very different problem to solve.
Actually, as far as I know, the libsolve can actually do that. So it can actually return a list of rules, which means either dependencies or actually packages that need to stay installed. The thing is, there's always one viable solution for every problem. Just remove all packages. So it's always solvable. It's always easy. It's always relaxed. Your system is gone, by the way. But I think libsolve actually can basically get you a list of rules, if removed, would make the thing solvable.
Yes.
But of course this can mean, well, if you remove glibc, everything is fine. You end up with maybe a couple of documentation packages, which can live on their own or something like that.
Because it's very hard for beginners to interpret.
Yeah, but the thing is,
And it gets even worse.
well, what I've heard is that interpreting those rules is even more complicated, and so we have not yet actually looked into it. That's something I want to do at some point.
Is there like a plan so I can... It often happens that some very hardly usable package I have installed in my system blocks the upgrade. And if I would know that such package is there, I could like mark some packages that, okay, I like to have them, but I
it's called erase.
Well, it's not actually broken because it's still broken. It's blocking upgrade completely. So I can have a package which I basically almost do not use, and it's blocking the whole upgrade because of this package. And it's actually quite hard to even figure out which one it is.
DNF, you can use erasing switch, and it will figure out.
Yeah, but I don't want to erase the package. I want to keep it because it will eventually run again. I have a lot of packages on my system which I use once a month, for example, like that. So a lot of packages I don't care about them.
But you are professional. You can
list
which packages you.
Yeah, but you know it would be hard, nice to have support.
I think.
I mean, that's giving you as an end result a broken installation set. And then the next point you run into stuff where
Just run RPM, HE, and no depths, and DB on the
I know I can resolve it by no depths, upgrading, and so on. But it's blocking through the upgrade because it again not to satisfy it.
Or we can just start using Windows.
I mean, but does it make sense to take over the problem? You should fix it right away. You know, why
It's often some package from Fusion Records.
So to answer the question, no. So, further discussion. So we have a couple of people who actually want to do something like now, right? So I would suggest basically meeting after a conference, maybe if you want to be a bit stealthy, we could basically meet on the rpm.org channel for discussion. Otherwise, I don't know if we want to discuss it on the Fedora Devil list, which is less stealthy.
Right now, start the wiki page anonymously.
Yeah, anonymously. Can you even edit a wiki anonymously? Maybe you suggest me opening a second fast account.
So why not make a wiki page and put the link there right now?
Yeah, can someone just open one?
Yes, you have a laptop in front of you. Even if it's empty, so even if it's empty, so we can extend it then.
Yeah, I'm not doing this during my talk, but I will do it just right after. So I think we have I don't know what's the timing. So it goes officially 10 more minutes, right? I kind of promised I will be finished like an hour or 1 hour earlier than this. So I would basically just wrap it up. So thank you very much for your participation. There's a link for feedback for the talk if you want to criticize it and tell everyone how bad the speaker was. Yeah, maybe we 3 or 4 people can just meet here and set up the.
FYI, all the slides from presenters are supposed to be gathered and will be published on the site of the DevConf. So I think Florian will put the link.
Yeah, we'll put. That's a good point. As I have not yet submitted the slides, I will just add the link there.
They're usually gathered after the conference.
Okay, so. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
So that seemed like fun. It seemed like fun.
Wasn't it bad?
You're still alive. They were basically getting the slides from all the presenters on the conference because the past experience was that they were gathering them before the conference. They basically got only half of the slides. So just Once you create a wiki, you can just put it in there and it'll be
First to get back my to get my screen back.
I assume there are one questions. I can help you with some.
Yeah, question. Let's say contribute questions also.
I think it would be good to see the video and write some sort of to-do list based on that video because really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And you go.
Říkal, že vydáš.
Důležitější věc. Já to nechám asi tady někde. No, to nevejde. Já to nechám. Tak.
Můžeme vlastně si dať svoj...
Přemýšlím o tom, asi není potřeba.
Tak ty si chcel ukazovat u seba, ne? Nějako.
Já ukážu i po té klikací. Jediný, co potřebuje, je nese update. Jestli máš nese update,
Mám.
vlastně hovno. Ne.
Jako kludně se to napojit.
Jo, budem, no a zvládnem tam 2 najednou. Nebo já nevím, čeho se promítají slidy. Jestli taky zvládnu. Asi jo, protože tady to
Podle mě.
jo, dobrý, takže já se tam taky napíšu. Tady někde na věčku.
Pravím.
Do prostřednictví, jo, přesně tak. Do prostřednictví a...
A já ještě prihošom ten supportový switch, že bychom mohli keď tak ku někomu to tiahnuť a urobit jako takovou vetvu, takže jo.
Každopádně komunikujeme na síti objeví rozdělné servery, Spanning tree a podobně, tak vás to zablokuje a máte útru.
Malým tady.
Nechám ty. Jo, kludně, tak to mám ještě dál. Musím zajít, tak ten suč. Jo, díky. Jo.
Jak se pracuje s tímhle?
Hello. Are you having power problems? What is he running around for?
For power cable, yeah.
Okay, there's another socket underneath the table.
Oh, there is a socket, but we don't have the power
Extension.
cable.
Okay.
Už jedna. Už to už dvě, teda co? To je počítač jedna, to nechci. Notebook.
Už až dva?
Počkej, já nevím, co je notebook.
To 2GH podle mě.
Počkej. VGA, jo. No, tak asi ne. Nebo že by to byl vizualizér.
Když tady není ta elektrika, tak jako sice teda mají noťasy, ale vydrží to dostatečně dlouho. Zrovna to na hoďku, už je jejich boj.
Už je jejich boj, to.
Dobře, a já to teda a nebo...
Nejste připojený?
Já ne, ale tam máme.
Aha. Ale netváří si. Jo, vy jste připojeni tady na ten... Tak to nevím, jestli nám pojede. No nevím, jestli nám tam z toho pojede. Přesto jo. No. Chcete teda spustit ten... No.
Enterprise.
A projekt.
To je dobrý nespustit, to musím já.
Jo. Kouzelné tlačítko. Dobrý, tak já tady pustím.
Já tam stiahnem asi tu prezentaci. A tam se nepripojit, ale to nie je verejné.
Já jsem tam PDF v noci.
Tak. Vektor malé plátno.
A jak se s tím teď zachází.
Na mě počkej.
Tak. Switch máte nežej.
Já vám můžu pustit elektronou.
Internet má.
No to vidíte.
Elektriku má, tam začít 13. Kdyby to bylo chtěl použít.
Jo, perfektně. Takže tam
Jinak je se dá 23 ten switch a připlatí ty data naše káble na příček a
jo, výborně.
díky moc. Takže ti to tady teda zanechal.
To sú flešky s Fedorou pre workshop.
Jo. A iba pre workshop.
To je škoda.
Tak, notebook bude tam, nebo tam.
Asi by bolo lepšie, keby to bolo na tom väčšom, no. Jak je to.
A ještě nejsme zapojení.
Ale